about truth in your Nietzsche lectures and elsewhere. When you think, when you write, when you speak, how do you find what is true? Hemingway said, all you have to do is write one true sentence.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I would say first that you practice that. It's like that question is something, and Hemingway knew this, at least to some degree, and he certainly wrote about it, is that you have to orient your life upward as completely as you can, because otherwise you can't distinguish between truth and falsehood. It has to be a practice. Now, and for me, I started to become serious about that practice when I realized that it was individual, it was the immorality of the individual, the resentful, craven, deceitful immorality of the individual that led to the terrible atrocities that humans engage in that make us doubt even our own worth. I became completely convinced of that the fundamental root cause of evil, let's say, wasn't economic or sociological, that it was spiritual, just psychological. And that if that was the case, you had an existential responsibility to aim upward and to tell the truth. And that everything depends on that. And I became convinced of that. And so then, look, you set your path with your orientation. That's how your perceptions work. As soon as you have a goal, a pathway opens up to you and you can see it. And the world divides itself into obstacles and things that move you forward. And so the pathway that's in front of you depends on your aim. The things you perceive are concretizations of your aim. If your aim is untrue, then you won't be able to tell the difference between truth and falsehood. And you might say, well, how do you know your aim is true? It's like, well, you course correct continually and you can aim towards the ultimate. Are you ever sure that your aim is the right direction? You become increasingly accurate in your apprehension.
Is it like part of the process to cross the line, to go outside the Overton window, to dip a toe outside the Overton window for a bit?
Of course, that's what you do in part and play. I was at the Comedy Mothership and every single comedian was like completely reprehensible. All they were doing was saying things that you can't say. Yeah. Well, but it was in play. What I'm trying to do in my lectures is I'm on the edge. Like I have a question I'm trying to address and I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know where the conversation is going. Truly, like it's an exploration. And I think the reason that the audiences respond is because they can feel that. It's a high wire act, and I could fail. And, my lectures have degrees of success. Sometimes I get real fortunate and there's a perfect narrative arc. I have a question, I'm investigating it. It comes to a punchline conclusion just at the right time. And it's like the whole act is complete. And sometimes it's more fragmented, but I can tell when the audience is engaged because everyone's silent. Mm-hmm. Except maybe when they're laughing. But there's
a kind of sense that you're arguing with yourself when you're lecturing. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful and powerful to watch. Like Nietzsche does the same. There's contradictions in what you're saying. There's a struggle with what you're saying. But I do think that when you're doing the same on the internet, you get punished for the deviations. You get punished for the exploration, especially when that explores outside the Overton window.
Look, if you're going to play hard in a conversation to explore, you're going to say things that are edgy, right? That are going to cause trouble and that might be wrong. And that's another reason why free speech protection is so important. You actually have to protect the right, let's say in the optimal circumstance, you have to protect the right of well-meaning people to be wrong. Yeah. Now, you probably have to go beyond that to truly protect it. You have to even protect the right of people who aren't meaning well to be wrong, and we also need that because we're not always well-meaning. But I don't, the alternative to that protection would be the insistence that people only say what was 100% right all the time.